As you can see within the title of this video, I have used up more letters by saying Science in the Babylonian Empire instead of just Babylonian Science. Here's why. The word Babylonian is a possessive adjective. Hence, to say Babylonian Science is to imply that Babylonia possessed this science, that this science belonged to Babylonia and nowhere else. However, this is obviously false because science does not belong to any one culture. It is a process that humans of all cultures can use to discover the truth about the natural world. There's no such thing as Babylonian science or Greek science or Indian science or African science or whatever. It's just science. It leads to the exact same results everywhere in the world. In fact, you cannot refer to a scientific hypothesis as a scientific theory unless the scientific data is exactly the same no matter where you are in the world. That is why I have specified my title as Science in the Babylonian Empire, not Babylonian Science. Now, the science was advanced for its time, but it was very primitive by our own standards, because there were only two areas of science that the Babylonians excelled in: astronomy and mathematics. Indeed, I'm including mathematics because mathematicians use the same scientific method for the purpose of discovering the truth. It's just that in the natural sciences, we can never be absolutely certain that our scientific theory is a fact, whereas in the mathematical sciences, we do get to enjoy that privilege. Natural science uses inductive arguments, while mathematics uses deductive arguments, but the difference between induction and deduction is something that we won't be covering for a long time, not until we get to our series on ancient Greece. In terms of mathematical science, the Babylonians were actually the first to discover the Pythagorean theorem. That's right. The term Pythagorean theorem is a misnomer. The Babylonians had discovered 1,000 years before Pythagoras that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. According to the news website of the prestigious competitive scientific journal Science, there is a 3,700-year-old cuneiform tablet that describes how to do trigonometry simply by using the fact that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. This is a fascinating discovery because modern-day mathematicians are used to using sines, cosines, and tangents for the sake of trigonometry. Now, I'm not a mathematician. Well, I kind of am in a trivial sense because logic and numerical mathematics are the two types of mathematics, and I am a logician, so that technically makes me a mathematician, but I'm not a numerical mathematician. The highest math class I ever took was college statistics. Hence, I have no idea whether or not you can use the Pythagorean theorem for trigonometry. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right, I don't know. But we do know that the Babylonians discovered the Pythagorean theorem 1,000 years before Pythagoras was even born. As for astronomy, there is another cuneiform tablet that describes the motion of planet Jupiter. It uses geometric methods that we teach to high schoolers today. The tablet doesn't show it, but it does talk about how Jupiter's motion can be drawn in the shape of a trapezoid. Again, I'm not a numerical mathematician, so even the English translation of this tablet will just fly over my head, but you can read more about this tablet in the links that I have inserted into the description below. In the next History 01 lecture, we will conclude our discussion on the Babylonian Empire, thereby concluding our series on ancient Mesopotamia. In the history lecture after that one, we will finally begin our series on ancient India. Right now, join me for a more social scientific lecture in Psychology 01.